didn't get any water. When you finish, can you just get me a drink of water? Yes. Immediately. You ready? Okay, good afternoon. Welcome to Chenrezig Institute. I'm Tenzin Palyon, and we're going to be reciting the Exalted Mahayana on the Wisdom Gone Beyond called the Vajra Cutter Sutra this afternoon. So it's one of the wisdom sutras. Nice short wisdom sutra. Anyway, first of all, we're going to recite from the Sangata Sutra, page 116, the motivation that Lama Zopa Rinpoche has put here for us to prepare for our sutra recitation. So I'm just going to recite that first. We'll take refuge, generate bodhicitta, generate that mind generation, wishing to free all sentient beings from suffering and lead them to enlightenment. And of course, recognizing that in order to do that, we ourselves must attain enlightenment. So that we can lead all those sentient beings to enlightenment by ourselves alone. So in the independence upon compassion, great compassion for every single living being, recognizing that all sentient beings are just like me in wanting happiness and not wanting suffering. And so that brings us close to them, brings us with a very deep heart connection in understanding that we're all the same. So gathering them all around us. And we can think that we're reciting this sutra for their benefit. We're reciting it to them so that they can hear it. And may my recitation be a cause for them to gain realizations on emptiness, on reality, how phenomena exist. So with this motivation, we'll recite Appendix C, page 116 of the Sangata Sutra book. So we'll take refuge and generate bodhicitta. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By my practice of giving and other perfections, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By my practice of giving and other perfections, thank you, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By my practice of giving and other perfections, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. And the 7-limb prayer. Reverently, I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind. I present clouds of every type of offering, actual and imagined. I declare on my negative actions accumulated since beginningless time, and rejoice in the merit of all holy and ordinary beings. Please remain until the end of psychic existence and turn the wheel of Dharma for living beings. I dedicate my own merits and those of all others to the great enlightenment. Offering a short mandala. This ground anointed with perfume, strewn with flowers, adorned with Mount Meru, the 4 continents, the sun and the moon. I imagine this is the Buddha field and offer it. May all living beings enjoy this pure land. And now the special request for the 3 great purposes. I prostrate and go for refuge to the Guru and the 3 precious gems. Please bless my mind. I'm requesting you to immediately pacify all the wrong conceptions, from incorrect devotion to the Guru up to the subtle view of the white, red, and dark visions that exist in my mind and in the minds of all mother sentient beings. I am requesting you to immediately generate all the right realizations from Guru devotion up to enlightenment in my mind and in the minds of all mother sentient beings. I am requesting you to pacify all outer and inner obstacles to actualize the entire graduated path to enlightenment in my mind and in the minds of all mother sentient beings. I prostrate and go for refuge to the Guru and the 3 precious gems. Please bless my mind. I'm requesting you to immediately pacify all the wrong conceptions from incorrect devotion to the Guru up to the subtle dual view of the white, red, and dark visions that exist in my mind and in the minds of all mother sentient beings. I'm requesting you to immediately generate all the right realizations from Guru devotion up to enlightenment in my mind and in the minds of all mother sentient beings. I'm requesting you to pacify all outer and inner obstacles to actualize in the entire graduated path to enlightenment in my mind and in the minds of all mother sentient beings. I prostrate and go for refuge to the Guru and the three precious gems. Please bless my mind. I'm requesting you to immediately pacify all the wrong conceptions from incorrect devotion to the Guru up to the subtle dual view of the white, red, and dark visions that exist in my mind and in the minds of all mother sentient beings. I'm requesting you to immediately generate all the right realizations from Guru devotion up to enlightenment in my mind and in the minds of all mother sentient beings. I'm requesting you to pacify all the outer inner obstacles to actualize in the entire graduated path to enlightenment in my mind and in the minds of all mother sentient beings. Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kamnayatayami. So now we'll recite this mantra to multiply the merit of reciting the sutra, to multiply that by 1,000,000. And also, of course, it's the days of miracles following Losar. And so that will multiply the merit also 100 million times. So we'll recite this mantra. Om Dare Dare Bendere So. Om Dare Dare Bendere Soha. 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 Om Dare Dare Bendere So. Om Dare Dare Bendere Soha. So now while we recite the sutra, there are two ways to visualize while reading sutras, and both can be done at the same time. So visualize that Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha, is giving you the teaching directly while you read the sutra, and you actualize realizations in your heart while you are reciting. And when reciting, visualize that you are giving the teachings to sentient beings as you read the sutra out loud. Since dogs, cats, birds, spirits, and other beings can hear you as you recite, you can invite the spirits and devas to listen as well. The sutra is medicine for the mind's delusions, where all sufferings come from. When you read the sutra, visualize that you are giving teachings to the beings of all 6 realms, offering them the opportunity to actualize the path and be liberated from their delusions, defilements, karma, and suffering. As you recite or read, and when you have finished, visualize that you and all beings, the hell beings, animals, and so on, are purified by unfathomable numbers of nectar beams coming from the unfathomable numbers of bodhisattvas. On this basis, visualize clearly that you and all the beings receiving teachings are generating extraordinary bliss and emptiness. So we'll recite the Vajra Cutter Sutra. Starting on page 5, the Vajra Cutter Sutra. I prostrate to all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Thus did I hear at one time the Bhagavan was dwelling at Sravasti in the grove of Prince Jeta, in the garden of Anapandata, together with the great Sangha bhikshus of 1,250 bhikshus and a great many Bodhisattva Mahasattvas. Then in the morning, having put on the lower and upper Dharma robes and carried the begging bowl, the Bhagavan entered the great city of Sravasti to request alms. And then having gone to the great city of Sravasti to request alms, the Bhagavan afterwards enjoyed the alms of food, and having performed the activity of food, since he'd given up alms of later food, put away the begging bowl and upper robe, he washed his feet, sat upon the prepared cushion, and having assumed the cross-legged posture, straightened the body upright and placed mindfulness in front. Then many bhikshus approached the place to where the Bhagavan was, and having reached there, bowing their heads to the Bhagavan's feet, circumambulated 3 times and sat to one side. Also at that time, the Venerable Subhuti joined that very assembly, sat down, and then the Venerable Subhuti rose from his seat, placed the upper robe over one shoulder, set his right knee on the ground, bowed, joining the palms toward the Bhagavan, said this to the Bhagavan: Bhagavan, the extent to which the Tathagata Arhat, perfect enlightened Buddha, has benefited the Bodhisattva Mahasattvas with highest benefit. The extent to which the Tathagata has entrusted the Bodhisattva Mahasattvas with highest entrustment. The Bhagavan is astonishing, Sagata. It is astonishing. Bhagavan, how should one who has correctly entered the Bodhisattva's vehicle abide? How practice, how control the mind? That was said, and the Bhagavan said to the Venerable Subhuti, Subhuti, well said, Subhuti. It is so, it is so. The Tathagata has benefited the Bodhisattva Mahasattvas with highest benefit. The Tathagata has entrusted the Bodhisattva Mahasattvas with highest entrustment. Subhuti, therefore, listen and retrain it in mind, and I will explain to you how one who has correctly entered the Bodhisattva's vehicle should abide, how practice, how control the mind. Having replied the Bhagavan, so be it. The Venerable Subhuti listened in accordance with the Bhagavan, and the Bhagavan said this, Subhuti, here, one who has correctly entered the Bodhisattva's vehicle should generate the mind of enlightenment, thinking this. As many as are included in the category of sentient beings, born from egg, born from womb, born from heat and moisture, born miraculously, with form, without form, with discrimination, without discrimination, without discrimination, but not without subtle discrimination. The realm of sentient beings, as many as are designated by imputation as sentient beings, all those I shall cause to pass completely beyond sorrow into the realm of nirvana without remainder of the aggregates. Although limitless sentient beings have thus been caused to pass completely beyond sorrow, no sentient being whatsoever has been caused to pass completely beyond sorrow. Why is that, Subhuti? Because if a bodhisattva engages in discriminating a sentient being, he is not to be called a bodhisattva. Why is that, Subhuti? If anyone engages in discriminating a sentient being, or engages in discriminating a living being, or engages in discriminating a person, they are not to be called a bodhisattva. Further, Subhuti, a bodhisattva gives a gift without abiding in a thing, gives a gift without abiding in any phenomenon whatsoever. A gift should not be given not abiding in visual form, nor should a gift be not given abiding in sound, smell, taste, tactility, or phenomenon. Subhuti, without abiding in discriminating anything whatsoever, any sign, thus bodhisattva gives a gift. Why is that, Subhuti? Because the heap of merit of that bodhisattva who gives a gift without abiding, Subhuti, is not easy to take the measure of. Subhuti, what do you think about this? Do you think it is easy to take the measure of space in the east? Subhuti replied, Bhagavan, it is not so. The Bhagavan said, Subhuti, similarly, do you think it is easy to take the measure of space in the south, west, north, above, below, the intermediate directions, and the 10 directions? Subhuti replied, Bhagavan, it is not so. The Bhagavan said, Subhuti, similarly, the heap of merit that bodhisattva who gives a gift without abiding is also not easy to take the measure of. Subhuti, what do you think about this? Is one viewed as a Tathagata due to perfect marks? Subhuti replied, Bhagavan, it is not so. One is not viewed as a Tathagata due to perfect marks. Why is that? Because that itself, which the Tathagata called perfect marks, are not perfect marks. He replied thus, and the Bhagavan said to the Venerable Subhuti, Subhuti, to the degree there are perfect marks, to that degree there is deception. To the degree there are no perfect marks, to that degree there is no deception. Thus view the Tathagata as marks and no marks. He said that, and the Venerable Subhuti replied to the Bhagavan, Bhagavan, in the future period at the end of the 500, when the holy Dharma will totally perish, will any sentient beings produce correct discrimination upon the words of sutras such as this being explained? And the Bhagavan said, Subhuti, do not say what you have said. In the future period at the end of the 500, when the holy Dharma will totally perish, will any sentient being produce correct discrimination upon the words of sutras such as this being explained? Moreover, Subhuti, in the future period at the end of the 500, when the holy Dharma will totally perish, there will be a bodhisattva Mahasattva endowed with morality, endowed with qualities, endowed with wisdom. Subhuti, those bodhisattva Mahasattvas, moreover, will not have made homage to just a single Buddha. They will not have produced roots of virtue to just a single Buddha. Subhuti, there will be a bodhisattva Mahasattva who has made homage to many hundreds of thousands of Buddhas and produced roots of virtue to many hundreds of thousands of Buddhas. Subhuti, those who will acquire merely a single mind of faith upon the words of such sutras as this being explained. Subhuti, the Tathagata knows. Subhuti, they are seen by the Tathagata. Subhuti, all those sentient beings will produce and perfectly collected in unfathomable heap of merit. Why is that, Subhuti? Because those bodhisattva Mahasattvas will not engage in discriminating a self, will not discriminate a sentient being, will not discriminate a living being, will not engage in discriminating a person. Subhuti, those bodhisattva Mahasattvas will not engage in discriminating phenomena nor discriminating non-phenomena, nor will they engage in discrimination nor non-discrimination. Why is that, Subhuti? Because if those bodhisattva Mahasattvas engage in discriminating phenomena, that itself will be of them, grasping a self and grasping a sentient being, grasping a living being, grasping a person. Because even if they engage in discriminating phenomena as non-existent, that will be of them grasping a self, grasping a sentient being, grasping a living being, grasping a person. Why is that? Further Subhuti, because the bodhisattva should not wrongly grasp phenomenon, nor grasp non-phenomenon. Therefore, thinking of that, the Tathagata said, if by those who know this Dharma treatise is like a boat, even Dharma should be given up, what need is there to mention non-Dharmas? Further, the Bhagavan said to Venerable Subhuti, Subhuti, what do you think about this? Does that Dharma that is manifestly completely realized by the Tathagata, unsurpassed, perfect, complete enlightenment exist whatsoever? Has any Dharma been taught by the Tathagata? And he said that, and the Venerable Subhuti replied to the Bhagavan, Bhagavan, as I understand this meaning that was taught by the Bhagavan, that Dharma was manifestly completely realized by the Tathagata, unsurpassed, perfect, complete enlightenment does not exist whatsoever. That Dharma was taught by the Tathagata does not exist whatsoever. Why is that? Because any Dharma manifestly completely realized or taught by the Tathagata is not to be grasped, not to be expressed. It is not Dharma, nor is it non-Dharma. Why is that? Because the Arya beings are differentiated by the uncompounded. The Bhagavan said to the Venerable Subhuti, Subhuti, what do you think about this? If some son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage completely filling the billion-fold world system with the 7 types of precious things were to give gifts, do you think that son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage would produce an immense heap of merit on that basis? Subhuti replied, Bhagavan, immense, Siddhartha, immense. Son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage would produce an immense heap of merit on that basis. Why is that, Bhagavan? Because that very heap of merit is not a heap. Therefore, the Tathagata says heap of merit, heap of merit. And the Bhagavan said, Subhuti, compared to any son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage, who completely filling this billion-fold world system in the 7 types of precious things, were to give gifts. If someone having taken even as little as a stanza of 4 lines from this discourse of Dharma also were to explain and correctly thoroughly teach it to others, on that basis a heap of merit produced would be much greater, incalculable, unfathomable. Why is that, Subhuti? Because the unsurpassed perfect complete enlightenment of the Tathagata, perfect complete Buddhas, arises from it. The Buddha Bhagavans are also produced from it. Why is that, Subhuti? Because the Buddha Dharmas are called Buddha Dharmas. Are those Buddha Dharmas taught by the Tathagata as a non-existent? Therefore, they are called Buddha Dharmas. Subhuti, what do you think about this? Does the stream enterer think I obtain the result of a stream enterer? Subhuti replied, Bhagavan, it is not so. Why is that, Bhagavan? Because one does not enter into anything whatsoever. Therefore, one is called stream enterer. One has not entered into form, nor entered into sound, nor into smell, nor into taste, nor into tactility, nor entered into a phenomenon. Therefore, one is called stream enterer. Bhagavan, if that stream enterer were to think I have attained the result of stream enterer, that itself will be grasping as that of itself, grasping a sentient being, grasping a living being, grasping a person. And the Bhagavan said, Subhuti, what do you think about this? Does the once returner think I have attained the result of a once returner? Subhuti replied, Bhagavan, it is not so. Why is that? Because the phenomenon of entry into the state of the once returner does not exist whatsoever. Therefore, one says once returner. The Bhagavan said, Subhuti, what do you think about this? That the non-returner think I've attained the result of a non-returner? Subhuti replied, Bhagavan, it is not so. Why is that? Because the phenomenon of entry into the state of the non-returner does not exist whatsoever. Therefore, one says non-returner. The Bhagavan said, Subhuti, what do you think about this? Does the Arhat think I've attained the result of arhatship? Subhuti replied, Bhagavan, it is not so. Why is that? Because the phenomenon called arhat does not exist whatsoever. Bhagavan, if the arhat were to think I have attained the result of arhatship, that itself would be grasping as that as a self, grasping as any being, grasping a living being, grasping a person. Bhagavan, I was declared by the Tathagata perfect completed Buddha as the foremost of those who abide without afflictions. Bhagavan, I'm an arhat free of attachment, but Bhagavan, I do not think I am an arhat. Bhagavan, if I were to think I have attained arhatship, the Tathagata would not have made a prediction about me, saying, the son of the lineage, Subhuti is Tathagata would not have, the son of the lineage, Subhuti is the foremost of those who abide without afflictions, since not abiding in anything whatsoever, he abides without affliction. He abides without affliction. The Bhagavan said, Subhuti, what do you think about this? Does the Dharma that was received by the Tathagata from the Tathagata Arhat perfect complete Buddha Diamond exist whatsoever? Subhuti replied, Bhagavan, it is not so. That Dharma that was received by the Tathagata from the Tathagata Arhat perfect completed Buddha Diamond does not exist whatsoever. The Bhagavan said, Subhuti, if some bodhisattva were to say, I shall actualize arranged fields, they will speak untruly. Why is that, Subhuti? Because arranged fields, called arranged fields, those arrangements are taught by the Tathagata as non-existent. Therefore, they are called arranged fields. Subhuti, therefore the Bodhisattva Mahasattva should generate the mind without abiding, should generate the mind not abiding in anything. They should generate the mind not abiding in form, should generate the mind not abiding in sound, smell, taste, tactility, or phenomenon. Subhuti, it is like this. If, for example, the body of a being were to become like this, as big as Samara, the king of mountains. Subhuti, what do you think about this? Would that body be big? Subhuti replied, Bhagavan, that body will be big. Siddhartha, that body will be big. Why is that? Because it is taught by the Tathagata as not being a thing, therefore it is called body. Since it is taught by the Tathagata as not being a thing, therefore it is called a big body. The Bhagavan said, Subhuti, what do you think about this? If there are also just as many Ganges rivers as grains of sand in the river Ganges, would their grains of sand be many? Subhuti replied, Bhagavan, if those very Ganges rivers were many, there is no need to mention their grains of sand. The Bhagavan said, Subhuti, you should understand, if some man or woman completely filling the 7 kinds of precious things, as there are many world systems, as there are grains of sand in those river Ganges, were to offer that to the Tathagata, perfect completed Buddhas. Subhuti, what do you think about this? Would that man or woman produce much merit on that basis? Subhuti replied, Bhagavan, much, Siddhartha, much. That man or woman will produce much merit on that basis. And the Bhagavan said, Subhuti, compared to someone who, completely filling that many world systems with the 7 types of precious things, were to give gifts to the Tathagata, Arhat, perfect completed Buddhas. If someone, having taken even as it stands with 4 lines from his discourse of Dharma, would explain it correctly and thoroughly, teach it to others, also to others, on that basis, the merit that itself will produce will be much greater, incalculable, unfathomable. Furthermore, Subhuti, at whatever place on earth, even a stanza of 4 lines from his discourse on Dharma is received or taught, that place on earth is a real shrine of the world with devas, humans, and asuras. What need is there to mention that whoever takes up his discourse of Dharma, memorizes, reads, understands, and probably takes it to mind, will be most astonished. At that place on earth, the teacher resides, the other levels of gurus also reside. He said that, and the Venerable Subhuti replied to the Bhagavan, Bhagavan, what is the name of this discourse of Dharma, and how should it be remembered? He said that, and the Bhagavan replied to Venerable Subhuti, Subhuti, the name of this Dharma discourse is wisdom gone beyond. It should be remembered like that. Why is that, Subhuti? Because the very same wisdom gone beyond that is taught by the Tathagata is not gone beyond. Therefore, it's called wisdom gone beyond. Subhuti, what do you think about this? As a Dharma that is taught by the Tathagata exists whatsoever. Subhuti replied, Bhagavan, that Dharma that is taught by the Tathagata does not exist whatsoever. The Bhagavan said, Subhuti, what do you think about this? Are the quantities of particles of earth that exist in a billionfold world so many? Subhuti replied, Bhagavan, the particles of earth are many. Sugata, they are many. Why is that, Bhagavan? Because that which is a particle of earth taught by the Tathagata as not being a particle, therefore it is called particle of earth. That which is a world system was taught by the Tathagata as not being a world system, therefore it is called a world system. Tathagata said, Subhuti, what do you think about this? Is one to be viewed as a Tathagata, a perfect completed Buddha, due to those 32 marks of a great being? Subhuti replied, Bhagavan, it's not so. Why is that, Bhagavan? Because those 32 marks of a great being that are taught by the Tathagata are taught by the Tathagata as no marks, therefore they are called 32 marks of Tathagata. And the Bhagavan said, further, Subhuti, compared to some man or woman completely giving up the body, numbering the grains of sand, the river Ganges, and someone taking even as little stanza of 4 lines from his discourse of Dharma also would teach it to others. They will produce on that basis many greater merits, incalculable, unfathomable. Thereupon the Venerable Subhuti, due to the impact of the Dharma, shed tears, and having wiped away the tears, he replied to Bhagavan, Bhagavan, this discourse of Dharma, taught thus by the Tathagata, Bhagavan, is astonishing, Siddhartha is astonishing. Bhagavan, since my production of exalted wisdom, I have never before heard this discourse on Dharma. The Bhagavan, those sentient beings who have produced correct discrimination upon this sutra being explained will be most astonishing. Why is that, Bhagavan? Because that which is correct discrimination is not discrimination. Therefore, correct discrimination was taught by the Tathagata, saying correct discrimination. Bhagavan, upon this Dharma discourse being explained, that I imagine and appreciate is not astonishing to me. Bhagavan, in the final time and the final age, at the end of the 500, those sentient beings who take up this Dharma discourse, memorize, read, and understand it, will be most astonishing. Furthermore, Bhagavan, they will not engage in discriminating yourself, will not engage in discriminating a sentient being, discriminating a living being, discriminating a person. Why is that, Bhagavan? Because that is self, which is discrimination as a self, discrimination as a sentient being, discrimination as a living being, discrimination as a person is not discrimination. Why is that? Because the Buddha Bhagavans are free of all discrimination. He said that, and the Bhagavan replied to Venerable Subhuti, Subhuti, it is so, it is so. Upon this sutra being explained, those sentient beings who are unafraid, unterrified, will not become terrified, will be most astonishing. Why is that, Subhuti? Because the highest wisdom gone beyond, taught by the Tathagata. The highest wisdom gone beyond, taught by the Tathagata, was also taught by an unfathomable Buddha Bhagavan. Therefore, it is called highest wisdom gone beyond. Further, Subhuti, that itself, which the patients have gone beyond, the Tathagata has not gone beyond. Why is that, Subhuti? Because when the king of Kalinga cut off my limbs and appendages, at that time there did not arise in me discrimination as a self, discrimination as a sentient being, discrimination as a living being, nor discrimination as a person. And in me there was no discrimination whatsoever. Yet there was also no non-discrimination. Why is that, Subhuti? Because if at that time there had arisen in me discrimination as a self, at that time there would have also arisen discrimination of malice. If there had arisen discrimination as a sentient being, discrimination as a living being, discrimination as a person, at that time there would also have arisen discrimination of malice. Subhuti, I know with clairvoyance that in the past period during the 500 lifetimes, I was a rishi called preacher of patience. And even then there did not arise in me the discrimination of the self. There did not arise in discrimination of a sentient being, discrimination of a living being, discrimination as a person. Subhuti, therefore, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, completely abandoning all discrimination, should generate the mind for unsurpassed perfect complete enlightenment. One should generate the mind not abiding in form. One should generate the mind not abiding in sound, smell, taste, activity, or phenomenon. One should generate the mind not abiding in non-phenomena either. One should generate the mind not abiding in anything whatsoever. Why is that? Because that itself which is abiding does not abide. Therefore, the Tathagata taught the Bodhisattva should give gifts not abiding. Further, Subhuti, the Bodhisattva should thus totally give away gifts for the welfare of sentient beings. However, that itself which is discrimination, sentient being, is non-discrimination. Those themselves were taught by the Tathagata saying all sentient beings also do not exist. Why is that, Subhuti? Because the Tathagata teaches reality, teaches truth, teaches what is. The Tathagata teaches what is without error. Further, Subhuti, the Dharma that is manifested, completely realized or shown by Tathagata, has neither truth nor falsity. Subhuti, it is like this. For example, if a man with eyes has entered darkness, he does not see anything whatsoever. Likewise, should one view the Bodhisattva who totally gives up a gift by falling into anything. Subhuti, it is like this. For example, upon dawn and the sun rising, a man with eyes sees various kinds of forms. Likewise, one should view the Bodhisattva who totally gives up a gift by not falling into anything. Further, Subhuti, the sons of the lineage or daughters of the lineage who take up this Dharma discourse, memorize, read, understand, and correct, and thoroughly teach to others in detail, are known by the Tathagata, they're seen by the Tathagata. All those sentient beings produce an unfathomable heap of merit. Further, Subhuti, compared to some man or woman at the time of dawn, totally giving up bodies, number of the grains of sand of the river Ganges, also totally giving up bodies, numbering the grains of sand of the river Ganges at the time of midday and evening in such number, totally giving up bodies for many hundred thousands or 10 million, 100 billion eons. If someone having heard this Dharma discourse would not reject it, if they themselves would produce much greater merit on that basis, incalculable, unfathomable, what need to mention someone who, having written it in letters, takes it up, memorizes, reads, understands, and correctly and thoroughly teaches to others in detail. Further, Subhuti, this Dharma discourse is unimaginable and incomparable. This Dharma discourse is taught by the Tathagata for the benefit of sentient beings who correctly entered into the supreme vehicle, the welfare of sentient beings who correctly entered to the best vehicle. Those who take up this Dharma discourse, memorize, read, understand, correctly, and thoroughly teach to others in detail are known by the Tathagata. They are seen by the Tathagata. All those sentient beings will be endowed with an unfathomable heap of merit. Being endowed with an unimaginable heap of merit, incomparable, immeasurable, and limitless, all those sentient beings will hold my enlightenment on the shoulder. Why is that, Subhuti? This Dharma discourse is unable to be heard by those who appreciate the inferior, by those viewing self, by those viewing a sentient being, those viewing a living being, and those viewing a person, are unable to hear, to take up, to memorize, to read, to understand, because that cannot be. Further, Subhuti, or whatever place on earth this sutra is taught, that place on earth will become worthy to be paid homage by the world of devas, humans, and asuras. That place on earth will become worthy as an object of prostration, as worthy as an object of circumambulation. That place on earth will become like a shrine. Subhuti, whatever son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage takes up these words of sutra like this, memorize, reads, and understands, they'll be tormented. They'll be immensely, intensely tormented. Why is that, Subhuti? Because whatever non-virtuous actions of former lifetimes that were committed by those sentient beings that would bring rebirth in the lower realms, due to torment in this very life, those non-virtuous actions of former lifetimes be purified, and they'll also attain the enlightenment of a Buddha. Subhuti, I know clairvoyance did in the past period, in even more countless of countless eons, much beyond, even beyond the Tathagata Aha, perfect completed Buddha Nikara. There were 84,000, 100,000, 10 million, billion, 100 billion Buddhas whom I pleased, and having pleased did not upset. Subhuti, from whatever I did, having pleased and not having upset those Buddha Bhagavans, and in the future period at the end of the 500, from someone taking up this sutra, memorized, reading, and understanding. Subhuti, compared to this heap of merit, the former heap of merit does not approach even 100th part, 1,000th part, 100,000th part, does not withstand enumeration, measure, calculation, similarity, equivalence, or comparison. Subhuti, at that time, the sons of the lineage or daughters of the lineage will receive a quantity of a heap of merit that, if I were to express that heap of merit of those sons of the lineage or daughters of the lineage, sentient beings would go mad, would be disturbed. Further, Subhuti, this Dharma discourse being unimaginable, its maturation indeed should also be known as unimaginable. Then the Venerable Subhuti replied to Bhagavan, Bhagavan, how should one who is quick into the bodhisattva's vehicle abide? How practice how to control the mind? And the Bhagavan said, Subhuti, here, one who is correctly entered the bodhisattva's vehicle should generate the mind thinking thus: I shall cause all sentient beings to pass completely beyond sorrow into the realm nirvana without remainder of the aggregate, and all those sentient beings are caused to pass completely beyond sorrow like that. No sentient being whatsoever was caused to pass beyond sorrow. Why is that? Subhuti, because if a bodhisattva engages in discriminating a sentient being, he is not to be called a bodhisattva. Also, if he engages in discriminating a person, he is not to be called a bodhisattva. Why is that, Subhuti? Because the Dharma called one who is correctly into the bodhisattva's vehicle does not exist whatsoever. Subhuti, what do you think about this? Does the Dharma that was manifestly completely realized with Tathagata from the Tathagata Dipankara unsurpassed perfect complete enlightenment exist whatsoever? He said that, and the Venerable Subhuti replied to Bhagavan, Bhagavan, the Dharma that is manifestly completely realized with the Tathagata from the Tathagata Dipankara unsurpassed perfect complete enlightenment does not exist whatsoever. He said that, and the Bhagavan replied to Venerable Subhuti, Subhuti, it is so. That Dharma that was manifestly completely realized by Tathagata from the Tathagata Dipankara, unsurpassed perfect complete enlightenment does not exist whatsoever. Subhuti, if that Dharma that was manifestly completely realized by the Tathagata existed at all, the Tathagata Dipankara would not have made the prediction to me, saying, young Brahman, in a future period, you will become a Tathagata, perfect completed Buddha, called Shakyamuni. Subhuti, thus, since that Dharma that was manifestly completely realized by the Tathagata, unsurpassed perfect complete enlightenment does not exist whatsoever. Therefore, the Tathagata Dipankara made the prediction to me, saying, young Brahman, in a future period, you become a Tathagata, perfect completed Buddha, called Shakyamuni. And why is that? Because Subhuti, Tathagata is an epithet as such, as a reality. Subhuti, if someone were to say the Tathagata, perfect completed Buddha, manifestly completely realized unsurpassed perfect complete enlightenment, they would speak wrongly. Why is that, Subhuti? Because that Dharma that is manifestly completely realized by the Tathagata, unsurpassed perfect complete enlightenment does not exist whatsoever. Subhuti, that Dharma is manifestly completely realized that Tathagata is neither truth nor falsity. Therefore, all Dharmas are Buddha Dharmas, was taught by Tathagata. Subhuti, all Dharmas, all those are non-Dharmas. Therefore, it is said that all Dharmas are Buddha Dharmas. Subhuti, it is like this. For example, like a human endowed with a body, and the body became large. Venerable Subhuti, the Bhagavan, taught by the Tathagata, a human endowed with a body and a large body, is taught by the Tathagata as not being a body. Therefore, it is endowed with a body and a large body, is said. The Bhagavan said, Subhuti, it is so. If some bodhisattva were to say, I should cause sentient beings to pass completely beyond sorrow, he should not be called bodhisattva. Why is that, Subhuti? Does the Dharma that is called bodhisattva exist whatsoever? Subhuti replied, Bhagavan, it does not. The Bhagavan said, Subhuti, therefore it was taught by the Tathagata that all Dharmas are without a sentient being, without a living being, without a person. The Subhuti, if some bodhisattva were to say, I actualize arranged fields, he too should be expressed similarly. And why is that, Subhuti? Because the arranged fields called arranged fields are those taught by Tathagata as non-arranged. Therefore, they're called arranged fields. Subhuti, whatever bodhisattva appreciates the dharmas as selfless, saying dharmas as selfless, he expressed by the Tathagata, perfect completed Buddha as a bodhisattva called a bodhisattva. Subhuti, what do you think about this? Does the Tathagata possess the flesh eye? Subhuti replied, Bhagavan Lissa, the Tathagata possesses the flesh eye. The Bhagavan said, Subhuti, what do you think about this? Does the Tathagata possess the divine eye? Subhuti replied, Bhagavan Lissa, the Tathagata possesses the divine eye. The Bhagavan said, Subhuti, what do you think about this? Does the Tathagata possess the wisdom eye? Subhuti replied, Bhagavan Lissa, the Tathagata possesses the wisdom eye. And Tathagata said, Subhuti, what do you think about this? Does the Tathagata possess the Dharma eye? Subhuti replied, Bhagavan, it is so. The Tathagata possesses the Dharma eye. The Tathagata said, Subhuti, what do you think about this? Does the Tathagata possess the Buddha eye? Subhuti replied, Bhagavan, it is so. The Tathagata possesses the Buddha eye. And the Bhagavan said, Subhuti, what do you think about this? If there being also just as many grains of sand, many Ganges rivers as there are grains of sand in the river Ganges, there were just as many world systems as there are grains of sand of those. And would those world systems be many? Subhuti replied, Bhagavan, it is so, those world systems will be many. And the Bhagavan said, Subhuti, as many sentient beings exist in those world systems, I totally know their continuum of consciousness of different thoughts. Why is that, Subhuti? Because the so-called continuum of consciousness is that taught by the Tathagata as a non-continuum. The Bhagavan said, Subhuti, what do you think about this? If there being just as many Ganges rivers, there are grains of sand in the river Ganges, there were just as many world systems as there are grains of sand of those. Would those world systems be many? Subhuti replied, Bhagavan, if so, their world systems will be many. The Bhagavan said, Subhuti, as many sentient beings exist in those world systems, I totally know they continue of consciousness of different thoughts. Why is that, Subhuti? Because the so-called continuum of consciousness is that taught by Tathagata as a non-continuum. Therefore, it is called a continuum of consciousness. Why is that, Subhuti? Because past consciousness does not exist as an observable, nor does future consciousness exist as an observable, and nor does present consciousness exist as an observable. Subhuti, what do you think about this? Is someone completely filling the bill of whole world system with the 7 types of precious things, but to give gifts? Do you think that the son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage produced an enormous heap of merit on that basis? Subhuti replied, Bhagavan, enormous Sagata. The Bhagavan said, Subhuti, it is so that son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage would produce an enormous heap of merit on that basis. Subhuti, if a heap of merit were called a heap of merit, the Tathagata would not have taught the heap of merit called a heap of merit. Subhuti, what do you think about this? Should one be viewed as a Tathagata due to total achievement of the form body? Subhuti replied, Bhagavan, it is not so. One should not be viewed as a Tathagata due to total achievement of the form body. Why is that, Bhagavan? Because total achievement of the form body is that which taught by the Tathagata is not being total achievement, therefore it is called total achievement of the form body. Subhuti replied, Bhagavan, it is not so. One is not to be viewed as a Tathagata due to perfect marks. Why is that? Because that which is taught by the Tathagata's perfect marks is taught by the Tathagata's not being perfect marks. Therefore, they are called perfect marks. The Bhagavan said, Subhuti, what do you think about this? If it is thought the Tathagata considers the Dharma as demonstrated by me, Subhuti, do not view it like that, because the Dharma that is demonstrated by the Tathagata does not exist whatsoever. Subhuti, if someone to say that the Dharma is demonstrated by the Tathagata, Subhuti, that he would deprecate me since non-existent and wrongly sees. And why is that, Subhuti? Because the demonstrated Dharma called demonstrated Dharma, which is referred to saying demonstrated Dharma does not exist whatsoever. And then the Venerable Subhuti said to Bhagavan, in the future period, will there be any sentient being who, having heard this demonstration of such Dharma as this, will clearly believe? Subhuti, would he deprecate me since non-existent and wrongly sees? Why is that? Subhuti, because that demonstrated Dharma called demonstrated Dharma, which is referred to saying demonstrated Dharma does not exist whatsoever. When the Venerable Subhuti said to the Bhagavan, in the future period, will there be any sentient being having heard this demonstration of such a Dharma as this will clearly believe? And the Bhagavan said, Subhuti, they are not sentient beings, nor are non-sentient beings. Why is that, Subhuti? So-called sentient beings, because they are taught by Tathagatas, non-sentient beings, therefore they are called sentient beings. Subhuti, what do you think about this? Does that Dharma that was manifested completely realized that Tathagata's perfect complete enlightenment exists whatsoever? The Venerable Subhuti replied, Bhagavan, that Dharma was manifested completely realized that Tathagata unsurpassed perfect complete enlightenment does not exist whatsoever. And the Bhagavan said, Subhuti, it is so, for it, even the least Dharma does not exist and is not observed. Therefore, it is called unsurpassed perfect complete enlightenment. Further, Subhuti, that Dharma is equivalent since rooting equivalence does not exist whatsoever. Therefore, it is called unsurpassed perfect complete enlightenment. The unsurpassed perfect complete enlightenment is equivalent as selfless, without sentient being, without living being, without person, is manifested completely realized through all virtuous dharmas. Subhuti, virtuous dharmas called virtuous dharmas, they taught by the Tathagata as non-dharmas, therefore are called virtuous dharmas. Therefore, further Subhuti, compared to the son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage, collecting a heap of the 7 types of precious things, about equaling whatever Sumeru king of mountains exists in a billionfold world systems and living and giving gifts. If someone having taken up as a little stanza of 4 lines of the wisdom gone beyond, were to teach it to others, Subhuti, compared to this heap of merit, the former heap of merit, having not approached even 100th part, does not withstand comparison. Subhuti, what do you think about this? If it is thought that the Tathagata considers sentient beings are liberated by me, Subhuti, do not view it like that. Why is that, Subhuti? Because those sentient beings who are liberated by the Tathagata do not exist whatsoever. Subhuti, if some sentient being were liberated by the Tathagata, that itself would be the Tathagata grasping self, a person, grasping a sentient being, grasping a living being, grasping a person. Subhuti, so-called grasping self is taught by the Tathagata as non-grasping, yet that is grasped by the childish ordinary beings. Subhuti, so-called childish ordinary beings, they were taught by the Tathagata as just non-beings. Therefore, they are called childish ordinary beings. Subhuti, what do you think about this? Is one to be viewed as a Tathagata due to perfect marks? Subhuti replied, Bhagavan is not so. One is not viewed as a Tathagata due to perfect marks. The Bhagavan said, Subhuti, it is so. One is not viewed as a Tathagata due to perfect marks. Subhuti, if one were viewed as a Tathagata due to perfect marks, even the Chakravartin king could be the Tathagata. Therefore, one is not viewed as a Tathagata due to perfect marks. Then Venerable Subhuti said to the Bhagavan, Bhagavan, as I understand the meaning of what the Bhagavan has said, one is not viewed as a Tathagata due to perfect marks. Then these verses were spoken by the Bhagavan at that time. Whoever sees me as form, whoever knows me as sound, have wrongly engaged by vanity. Those beings do not see me. The Dharmas of Dharmata, viewed as gods of the Dharmakaya. Since Dharmata is not to be known, it is unable to be known. Subhuti, what do you think about this? If one grasps the Tathagata arc of perfect complete Buddha due to perfect marks. Subhuti, you should not view so. For Subhuti, the Tathagata are perfect complete Buddha does not manifest things that you realize. Unsurpassed perfect complete enlightenment due to perfect marks. Subhuti, if one grasps at that some Dharma has been designated, destroyed or annihilated by those who correctly enter the Bodhisattva's vehicle. Subhuti, it should not be viewed so. Those who have correctly entered the Bodhisattva's vehicle have not designated any Dharma whatsoever as destroyed or annihilated. Further, Subhuti, compared to any son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage who completely filling with the 7 kinds of precious things, as many world systems there are Gorians to stand the river Ganges where to give gifts. If any bodhisattva retain forbearance, that dharmas are selfless and unproduced. On that basis, a heap of merit they themselves to produce will be much greater further. Subhuti, a heap of merit should not be acquired by the bodhisattva. And the Venerable Subhuti, Bhagavan should not a heap of merit be acquired by the bodhisattva. And the Bhagavan said, Subhuti, acquire, not wrongly grasp, therefore it is called acquire. Subhuti, if someone says the Tathagata comes or goes, stands or sits or lies down, so he does not understand the meaning explained by me. Why is that, Subhuti? Because the Tathagata, that one gone thus, does not go anywhere and always come from anywhere. Therefore, one says the Tathagata, perfect complete Buddha. Furthermore, Subhuti, if some son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage were to render as many of hundreds of many atoms of earth exist in the beneficial world system. Like this, for example, in powder subtlest atoms, Subhuti, what do you think about this? Would that collection of subtlest atoms reach me really? Subhuti replied, Bhagavan is so, the collection of subtlest atoms would be many. Why is that? Bhagavan, because if there were a collection of Bhagavan, it would be not a collection of subtlest atoms. Why is that? Because that collection of subtlest atoms that was taught by the Tathagata Bhagavan, taught by the Tathagata is no collection, therefore one says collection of subtlest atoms. That billion-fold world system was taught by the Tathagata was taught by the Tathagata as no system, therefore one says billion-fold world system. That itself will be grasping a solid thing, that taught by the Tathagata is grasping a solid thing, taught by the Tathagata is no grasping, therefore one says grasping a solid thing. The Bhagavan said Subhuti, grasping a solid thing is a self-convention. That Dharma does not exist what is expressed, yet it is grasped by the ordinary childish being. Subhuti, if someone were to say viewing itself as taught by the Tathagata, viewing a sentient being, viewing a living being, viewing a person as taught by the Tathagata, Subhuti, would that be spoken by right speech? And Subhuti replied, Bhagavan, it would not, Tathagata, it would not. Why is that, Bhagavan? Because that which is taught by the Tathagata as viewing is itself, taught by the Tathagata is no viewing, therefore one says viewing itself. The Bhagavan said, Subhuti, those who are correctly into the Bodhisattva's vehicle should know, should view, should appreciate all dharmas like this. They should appreciate like this, not abiding whatsoever in any discrimination as a dharma. Why is that, Subhuti? Because discrimination is a dharma called discrimination is a dharma. Taught by the Tathagata is non-discrimination, therefore one says discrimination is a dharma. Further, Subhuti, compared to any bodhisattva mahasatva, completely filling unfathomable, incalculable world systems with 7 kinds of precious things, were to give gifts. If any son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage who, having taken as little as a stanza of 4 lines from this perfection of wisdom, were to memorize, read, or understand, and correctly and thoroughly teach it to others in detail, on that basis, the merit he himself would produce would be much more incalculable, unfathomable. How should one correctly and thoroughly teach? Just how one would not correctly and thoroughly teach. Therefore, one says correctly and thoroughly teach. A star, a visual aberration, a lamp, an illusion, a dew, a bubble, a dream, a lightning, and a cloud. View all the compounded like that. That having been said by the Bhagavan, the elder Subhuti, those bodhisattvas, the fourfold disciples, Bhikshus, Bhikshunis, disciples, never seekers, and the world with Devas, humans, Asuras, and Gandharvas, were highly enjoyed that praise taught by the Bhagavan. The exalted Mahayana Sutra, wisdom gone beyond, called the Vajra Cutter, is concluded. Right, page 116, right, 118. After we finish, when you finish reading the sutra, visualize the sentient beings you've been reciting the sutra to are all liberated from the causes of suffering. The causes of delusions are purified and they all become enlightened. Dedicate the merit, then rejoice. Thinking, how wonderful, how precious. How amazing that I've freed all sentient beings from suffering and placed them in a state of liberation and enlightenment. Reciting sutras for these extensive benefits is how the Bodhisattva Samantabhadra practice, using extensive visualizations. May the kindness of the Buddha is embodied within these wondrous sutras fill the hearts of all sentient beings and turn them all to virtue. Just as the Sangata Sutras existed for many centuries until now, in the world only to benefit, may the Buddha Dharma remain for eons more, to bring comfort and aid to all. May the supreme jewel bodhicitta does not arise and grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish, but increase more and more. Great. Thanks, everybody. Thank you.